Greetings, Wildcats. I am excited to share one of my favorite books with you guys, and it's called Mr. Peabody's Apples. And it was written by who? Madonna. Yes, the singer Madonna. She wrote a book. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this book. Mr. Peabody's Apples. Welcome to Happyville. In the town of Happyville, which wasn't a very big town, Mr. Peabody was congratulating his Little League team on a great game. They had not won, but no one really cared because they had such a good time playing. Mr. Peabody was the history teacher at the local elementary school, and in the summertime, he dedicated every Saturday to organizing baseball games with other schools. Billy Little, who wasn't a very big boy, was one of Mr. Peabody's students. He loved baseball more than anything, and he thought Mr. Peabody was the greatest. After each game, he would always stay to help pick up all the bats and balls. And when they were finished, Mr. Peabody would smile and say, "Thanks, Billy. Good job. I'll see you next Saturday." Then he would start his walk home along the main street of Happyville, which wasn't a very big street, waving hello to everyone he knew, and everyone would wave hello back. Along the way, he always passed Mr. Funkadeli's fruit market. Here, Mr. Peabody would stop and admire Mr. Funkadeli's fresh apples. He would pick out the shiniest apple, drop it in his bag, and continue on his way. Across the street, Tommy Tittlebottom watched with curiosity as Mr. Peabody walked away with the apple. "That's strange," Tommy said to himself. Mr. Peabody didn't pay for the apple. Tommy got on his skateboard and rushed to tell his friends. The following Saturday, Mr. Peabody's team played another game, and they lost, as usual. But no one seemed to care because they had such a good time playing. Billy picked up the balls and bats, and Mr. Peabody set off on his walk home. He waved at everyone he knew, and they waved back. Once again, he stopped outside of Mr. Funkadeli's fruit market, picked up the shiniest apple, dropped it in his bag, and continued on his way. Across the street was Tommy Tittlebottom and his friends watched Mr. Peabody. They were amazed at what they saw. Mr. Peabody has not paid for his apple. They couldn't wait to tell all of their friends, who told their parents, who told their neighbors, who told their friends in the town of Happyville, which wasn't a very big town. The Saturday after that, Mr. Peabody was standing all alone on the baseball field, wondering where everybody was. Then he saw Billy walking toward him with a sad look on his face. "Hello, Billy. I'm glad you're here. But where's the rest of the team?" asked Mr. Peabody. Billy remained silent. "What is it, Billy?" he asked again. Billy didn't look up. "Everybody thinks you're a thief," he said to the ground. Mr. Peabody looked confused. He took off his hat and he scratched his head. "Who says I'm a thief? Billy?" And what did I steal? He asked. Tommy Tittlebottom and his friends said they saw you take an apple from Mr. Funkadeli's fruit market twice. And they said you didn't pay for them, answered Billy. Ah, said Mr. Peabody, putting his hat back on his head. Let's go and talk to Mr. Funkadeli about it, shall we? This is the picture of Billy telling the coach. They walked down the main street, which wasn't a very big street, and Mr. Peabody waved to all the people he knew, but some of them did not wave back, and some pretended they didn't even see him. They finally arrived at Mr. Funkadeli's fruit market. Out popped Mr. Funkadeli, who said, "Hey, what are you doing here, Mr. Peabody? Why aren't you at the game?" "There wasn't a game today," said Mr. Peabody, "and I was wondering if I could take my apple earlier than usual." "Sure, why not?" replied Mr. Funkadeli. "You pay for them every Saturday morning when you pick up your milk. You can take them when you like. You want the big shiny one, Mr. Peabody?" Mr. Peabody took his apple, smiled, and offered it to Billy. "I would like to take the apple, Mr. Peabody, but I have to go and find Tommy and explain everything," said Billy. "When you find him, ask him to come over to my house. I would like to speak with him too," replied Mr. Peabody. A little while later, Billy found Tommy and told him what happened with the apples. He told Tommy that Mr. Peabody wanted to speak to him right away. So off Tommy ran, and when he arrived, he rang the doorbell, and Mr. Peabody came to the door. They looked at each other for a while. "Oh, dear Mr. Peabody," said Tommy, on the doorstep. "I didn't understand. I should not have said what I said, but it looked like you hadn't paid for the apples." Mr. Peabody's eyebrows went up a little, and he felt a warm breeze across his face. It didn't matter what it looked like. What matters is the truth. Tommy looked down at his shoes and said, "I am so sorry. What can I do to make things better now?" Mr. Peabody took a deep breath, looked up at the small cloud that was in the sky, and said, "I'll tell you what, Tommy. Meet me at the baseball diamond in 1 hour and bring a pillow stuffed with feathers." "Okay," said Tommy, who then ran out to his house to get a pillow. An hour later, Tommy met Mr. Peabody on the pitcher's mound. "Hello, Tommy," said Mr. Peabody. "Follow me and bring your pillow." Tommy followed Mr. Peabody to the top of the bleachers, wondering what was this all about. "It's a windy day, isn't it?" asked Mr. Peabody. When they reached to the top, Tommy nodded his head in agreement. "Here is a pair of scissors. Now cut the pillow in half and shake the feathers out." Tommy looked confused, but did it anyway. He thought it was a small price to pay to gain Mr. Peabody's forgiveness. The wind carried the thousands of feathers far and wide. See all those feathers? Tommy looked relieved and said, "Is that all I have to do to make things better?" "There is one more thing," said Mr. Peabody. "Now you must go and pick up all the feathers." Tommy frowned. "I don't think it's possible to pick up all the feathers," Tommy replied. "It would be just as impossible to undo damage that you have done by spreading the rumor that I am a thief," said Mr. Peabody. "Each feather represents a person in Happyville." That was a long pause as Tommy began to understand what Mr. Peabody was saying. Finally, he said, I guess I have a lot of work to do ahead of me. Mr. Peabody smiled and said, indeed you do. Next time, don't be so quick to judge a person. And remember the power of your words. Then he handed Tommy the shiny red apple and made his way home. The end. So guys, this is just a reminder that we have to be careful that when we share rumors, because a lot of times rumors are not true. And so in order to make sure that we are not spreading rumors and we get the truth, we want to make sure that we actually take the opportunity to get to know a person. And when we do hear gossip and when we do hear things that are rumors, let's shut it down. Let's choose to be kind. Let's choose to be loving, and let's choose to be caring. Who rocks? You do. I hope you enjoyed the book as much as I did. Have a great day.